This is the RV Game Changer. In this podcast, we will speak with manufacturing leaders, component suppliers, dealers, subsector innovators, influencers, and industry experts who all believe RVing is good for our environment. It's good for our economy. It's great for our family values and overall well-being. With your help, we can improve the RV experience for everyone. Today's episode of RV Game Changer is brought to you by RVing Today TV. If it has anything to do with RVing and camping, you can bet you'll see it on RVing Today TV. Celebrating its 14th year, RVing Today TV is the #1 weekly RV and camping lifestyle show in the country. Available on major television stations and sports networks nationwide, as well as various streaming media platforms. Visit RVingToday.tv, where you'll find the list of stations and networks carrying the show, along with additional stories, news, and contests. Are you an RVer who is looking to get into a new RV, but are currently in a situation with your camper now that is keeping you from making your dream to buy a new RV a reality? On today's episode of RV Game Changer, we'll be speaking with an extraordinary RV industry innovator, Deryle Jensen of Wheelator.com. He has come up with a uniquely simple and proven resource to help people sell their RV. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you Deryle Jensen. How are you today, Deryle? Thanks for coming in.
I'm well, Bernie. Thank you for having me as one of your guests. Appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. This sounds like a fascinating idea that can help a lot of people sell their RV at a fair price. First of all, Deryle, what inspired you to come up with RVWheelator.com?
Some family friends of ours came to our house and had an RV, and they had aged out. They had gotten too old to really appreciate and enjoy the RV, and they wanted to know from me what they should do or could do. And I ended up suggesting that they went out to the dealer, and they did. And the next time I spoke to them, I realized that the dealer had purchased their RV for about $50,000 below wholesale. And that just disappointed me. And I asked him, I went out to the dealership. I'm a polite man. I don't jump up and down and make noises. I just talk to the young person. Obviously, everyone's younger than me. I got gray hair. But he told me that was his job. It was his job to make as big a gross profit as possible. And he actually beat his chest and told me that that's what he was supposed to do. And I said, you must get a big commission on doing that. And he told me he did. And I told him at that time that I was going to develop a business model that would, I'll say it, kick his butt. And I have.
All right. So how long has RV Wheelator been around?
12 years. We've been in business doing listing and selling recreational vehicles in the lower 48 states for the last 12 years. And let me tell you how good the business model is.
Okay.
One bad review in 12 years. And that bad review is that customer service called too many times in one day. So 12 years in the RV industry, we actually don't have a bad review.
That is really amazing in this industry, I have to say. So, let's break it down a little bit in simple terms for us that might be taking notes. What are some of the basic operating principles of this innovative company you own?
Well, first and foremost, we're the only company in the RV industry that has a retail to retail business model. Everybody else is wholesale to retail. RV Wheelator is retail to retail. And because of that, we have a bunch of firsts. And we're the first, we can guarantee a private seller of a recreational vehicle up to 50% more cash than a dealer. That's a lot of money. We can also
I was wondering what that meant, retail to retail, because I haven't really heard that terminology before.
Well, thank you for asking that question. The dealers, the brokers, everybody else that's in the industry is wholesale to retail.
Okay.
We are retail to retail. We possess the same database that the banks and the lenders use to determine the loan value and average retail in every RV mass produced. So that average retail price out of the bank's database is a retail price, not a wholesale price. So we can guarantee up to 50% more cash than a dealer. We can guarantee a buyer at the seller's agreed price. Similar to listing and selling a home, we pay for all the advertising and we qualify the buyer. And Bernie,
Yeah.
if more money, a guaranteed buyer, and all the advertising hassle is removed, if that's not enough, the service is 100% no cost for the private seller, because the buyer will pay a small commission included in the advertised price.
All right.
We're amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's an astounding idea, and I'm just wondering how that all works. But so let's get right into, like, if someone comes up and says to themselves, "There's no way I'm going to be able to trade in my RV. I need help." Like, what do you do for these people?
Well, we need them to fill in our information page. And from that information page, we search the bank's database, and we do a search on a little bit better than a Google search for the identical RV to see what they're being advertised for.
Okay.
From that information, we send that wannabe seller an offer to advertise, an OTA, that all cards are face up. It shares their net. It shares what our commission would be on top of their net. It shares that we need 30 or 40 pictures. We build a professional ad. We send the ad to them to be proofread. Once it's approved or the changes are made, we broadcast it to one of the largest advertising footprints in the country. I won't explain how big it is, but it's huge.
Yeah.
And then then when the phone rings, we answer it and qualify the buyer. So when we call the owner, we have a qualified buyer ready to buy, cash in hand. Their shopping is done. And the reason that they called us is we're likely the best price on the internet for that year, that make, that model.
So yeah, I can see how that could work for the someone who is trying to trade in and it's not working out for them for whatever reason.
Right.
But how about someone who's been trying to sell it on their own already? Have you been able to help those people as well? Because they're doing some advertising online. What's different about what you're doing?
Well, there's only two reasons a private RV doesn't sell. Number one, it's improperly priced, either too high or too low. And whether we like it or not, the banks control our lives. So we utilize the same database that the banks utilize to control our lives when it comes to financing an RV for valuing the RV with the better than Google search that we do. So did I answer your question?
I think so, but I got a different question because I can hear some sound effects in the background. It sounds like mourning doves or whatever kind of floating around back there. Where are you, and what's going on out in your yard?
Okay, this is my outdoor office. I live in Tucson, Arizona. I happen to back onto a open park area, so I have wildlife. From time to time, I'll see deer and javelina and coyotes and the odd bobcat. And all the birds and all the birds. No, it's great.
Wonderful. What a beautiful environment to live in, I'm sure.
Well, it's kind of an RV place, a mecca, Tucson, lots of snowbirds come here. But I want to share some more about this business of
sure. I just got distracted by the lovely wildlife in the background. So let me ask you then. So you said you qualify the buyers. What are some of the diligence you do to make sure those buyers are legit?
In 12 years of qualifying buyers, we've had one buyer that wasn't legit. One buyer that fibbed to me so good that I actually believed them. Now, I listened to the stories. How is it that you've got $95,000 to buy this RV from that private seller?
Right.
Well, we've been saving for 20 years. My wife got a small inheritance, and we got 3 young daughters under the age of 10, and we promised to take them to Disneyland in a motorhome, and we got the money. So, and yours is priced below everybody else, and we want to buy from the owner, not some salesman. Here we are.
So All right. So talk a little bit about, so although you're doing a lot of the in-between work between the buyer and the seller and you're advertising for the seller, inevitably, are you saying that that buyer buys directly from the seller?
Yep. Here's a statistic that'll blow every dealer away. 80% of the RVs that we list sell the first time they're shown. My goodness gracious, that's an incredible number. And why is that? It's because the RV is priced fairly for both buyer and seller, and the seller conducts the sale, and the seller collects all of his money plus my commission.
Right.
So the seller can't get hurt. And while he can if he takes buttons in payment, but we haven't had anybody do that in 12 years. Everybody's happy. We share some of the gross profit that the dealer would usually make with the seller and the buyer. That's why we have no bad reviews. We share.
Well, that's an amazing one. You know, I've been fishing around your website a little bit. I'm going to bring it up, and you're completely transparent. Apparently, you're very transparent about what you're doing here. And you have two mission statements, two of them, not one, but two, and you directly disclose on your website. You know, what are some of the features in these mission statements that really shows the way you do business to these buyers and sellers?
Well, the retail to retail business model allows us to share with both the buyer and the seller. We're fair because we utilize a third party for pricing. That makes us fair. And we care because we pay for all the advertising, so we care if the RV sells or not. Unlike all the other advertisers in the country, they don't care. They just want your $149 or $99 to advertise.
Right.
We're actively involved in the whole process. Ultimately, Bernie, our job is to introduce a nice person to another nice person. That's our job. What a great job. If you happen to be jumping around and being rude, dude, you are not getting introduced to the owner of that RV. It ain't happening.
Okay. Give us an example of what you mean by that.
We do an especially great job for widows.
Okay.
Now, you know, most anybody that's going to buy an RV from a widow that's in the wholesale to retail business model, probably, you know, I hate to say it, Bernie, but she might not get exactly what it's worth because she's a widow. We protect that widow. We protect her on pricing, so it's fair for everybody, the buyer and the seller, but fair for the widow. And then if the person we're talking to says, I don't care what the price is, I'm going to offer her this much. Nope, you're not, because we give your information, Mr. Buyer, to the seller, and then the seller calls you to answer your questions and set up an appointment time. You will never find out where this RV is or the widow's name or anything else because we've got it. And we know where it is, and we ain't sharing it with you because we find you to be we won't put the widow through it. It's our job to protect her.
Well, so it sounds like you set it up where you come up with a fair price, and that price at that point is non-negotiable. Is that correct? What you're saying?
That's right. We do the negotiating for the buyer.
All right. So if there is a negotiating that needs to happen, you're going to be taking care of that before the buyer is introduced to the seller.
Absolutely. Yes. We utilize that bank's database to negotiate the fair price. There has to be, listen to this word, Bernie, nowhere else in the RV industry do you hear this word, equity. Equity. There has to be equity for the buyer for me to advertise it.
So that means they have to be below market value.
Well, below average retail, but still up to 50% more than what a dealer can offer them. Here's an example. The dealer offered the owner of the diesel pusher $60,000. The pusher owner thought it was worth about $100,000. He was insulted. He came to me and demanded to know my price. I said, I don't pull a number out of the air. I got to do the homework, check the database, do a search.
And you check like a an evaluation? Do you get
Yes.
a written evaluation?
Yes, we checked the database. So the database said that the average retail was 104,000. So he kind of knew what it was worth when he said 100.
Yeah.
There was a dealer that had one on for 119, the identical RV, year, make, and model. Another one at 125, a private person had one for 129. So he came to see me. He wanted to know what I'd offer him the next day after I'd done my homework. And I said, I can get you $90,000. He said, what did the bank say? I said, bank said 104. He said, I want 104. I said, good for you. You'll have to sell it yourself. There's no room for me. I said, isn't 90,000 50% more than 60? Wouldn't you stop and just pick $30,000 off the ground with no work, no effort, no advertising cost, no advertising hassle? Yeah. How does it work? He sent us 30 or 40 pictures. We built the ad. We advertised it for $94,986. Call it $95,000. How can I be so arrogant as to say I can guarantee a buyer? This is how. The difference between 104, what the bank says it's worth, and our advertised price of 95, there's $9,000 equity, or about 10% for the buyer. That's why 80% of the units sell, because they get to buy from the horse's mouth, the owner, and there's equity in the purchase.
And in most cases, just because, I've been in the RV industry myself for a while, the bank's not going to loan the money to be able to help those people buy that $129,000 one or the $125,000 one, because the bank's not going to want to take that kind of risk.
Right. Yeah. These folks had the money in place. These folks knew a good price when they saw it because they had done their shopping. They're ready to buy. And they call. One of his questions was, what's wrong with it? I said, I don't think there's anything wrong. I've talked to the owner a half a dozen times. I have him to my dinner table any day of the week. He's a great guy. I'm sure he's an honest man. And I never looked at the RV. That's not my job. If the banker don't need to look at it to finance it, why in the world do I need to look at it to advertise it?
Right.
But
you got your report. You got your diligence. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, this all works on honesty.
Okay.
The retail business model that works on honesty.
Well,
how neat.
Yeah, here's the thing, and you alluded to it a little bit earlier, but I want you to kind of elaborate it on a little bit more. So, one of the true indicators about success in any business or industry is how the customer feels. So, you've been around for 12 years now. Describe for us how the customers feel about the services your company, RV Wheelator, provides.
I have testimonials that are so glowing they are near almost embarrassing about our tremendous service and how happy they are to be in charge, like the owner, instead of having somebody calling them at 10 o'clock at night or at dinner time or when they have company, an inconvenient or not being I'll buy it as soon as my uncle gives me the money, or any of all those stories, or the low ballers or the scammers we answer all those calls. So we protect that market. Matter of fact, the scammers aren't calling our 800 number much anymore because they know who we are. 12 years, the scammers are kind of over me, over RV Wheelator.
They got tired of giving you a hard time, right?
Yeah. We've got a business model that we can share with RV campgrounds and parks. We can share with dealers. We can share with real estate agents that we're developing throughout the country. We can share with RV repair businesses, and everything we do is fair. We know who does the work because everything is done by QR code. There's my QR code and here's obviously my logo.
Yeah, we'll try to blow that up later. But hey, I'm sorry. We're kind of crossing into some difficult territory here, and that I work for an RV dealer, right?
Yeah.
And by now, RV dealers out there are probably thinking, RV Wheelator is trying to pick my pocket and take away my trade business. So, what are your thoughts about how dealers might respond to this, and what is your response to their thinking?
I'm not taking their trades. I'm providing a service, a tremendous service to the underserved and unserved market. And when it comes to the trade, a whole bunch of dealers aren't taking much for trades other than things that are newer than 4 years old and under 10,000 miles on the gas powered unit. Where did all the rest of the people go, and how do they get theirs sold? How do they get professional knowledge? Isn't it amazing that the second largest purchase that we'll ever make, a motorhome, we are so unrepresented as a private person? Oh my goodness, isn't it about time that you have a professional company that protects the private person, to advertise for them, qualify for them, introduce for them, share with them how to handle them? You know, there's people that know how to do it, and there's other people, my goodness gracious, we hold their hand right from the beginning to the end. And by the way, we have financing, we have third-party inspections, we have insurance, and we have something else that we don't sell. I can't remember what it is. Everything a dealer has except the overhead.
Okay.
And the retail to retail business model allows us to share.
So I'm just wondering, like, is there any potential benefit to a dealer if, you know, they decide to communicate with you, with their customers that may be in a difficult situation, but they still want a new RV?
Yep. There are times, and many times in a dealer's business, where the dealer and the wannabe buyer and trader inner of their old RV are $10,000-$20,000 apart, and neither one of them can move. If the dealer shared our business, RV Wheelator's information page, with that customer, and we listed it and sold it, we can get them up to 50% more cash than the dealer. Now,
all right.
I think, this is my opinion, I think the dealer that
I'm trying to save my job here, you know.
Yeah, the dealer that shared that customer with RV Wheelator would also share an opportunity for that customer to want to come back to that dealership to buy that unit, because they would discount that unit a little bit, maybe 5%, not because they don't need to protect themselves on the trade, because the trade's gone and the customer's got more cash. We saw to that. And remember, I said we share. The dealership would be a merchant agent, and they would use their QR code. Everything's done in my company by unique QR code. They would use their QR code, and we would pay them a 10% commission of what my company earns. And by the way, we pay every Friday.
All right.
Well, it's an amazing opportunity. Where's the dealer's risk? The dealer's risk is in taking the used in trade. Where does the dealer have the bottleneck? In the service department. How come? Because they're putting their stuff that they took in trade in the service department instead of taking care of their customer. I can take care of the trades for them that they don't want, get that customer more money, and have that customer come back to that dealership to buy. Pretty powerful stuff.
So I'm trying to do the math here a little bit. So you're saying that, first of all, it would simplify the transaction for the dealership, where they can focus on earning their due money that they deserve for representing a particular product. Yeah. And then secondly, it would reduce the amount of service work, which will free them up to take better care of their customers. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I am suggesting quite strongly that a dealership or a dealer network of dealerships should seriously consider getting hooked up with RV Wheelator, because we can make them money at two ends, and everything is fair. Everything's above board. There's no hidden nothing here. There's no added on fees. There's no anything here. We are fair and square. Check us out. Check out RV Wheelator, man. You'll see.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, and I'm starting to kind of really understand, you know, the benefits of your company. And obviously, I got to be cautious. But you mentioned earlier campgrounds, and what would a campground be able to do to benefit from RV Wheelator?
Okay, we have a beautiful 11 by 17 poster that has the buzzwords on it. Obviously, the logo and our .com, but the buzzwords on it that say, more money guaranteed, more money guaranteed buyer. We pay for all the advertising. The service is absolutely no cost. And here's the QR code on the bottom that belongs to the RV park, and 2 testimonials on each side of that. Those posters, with permission, get put up in the RV campground at the laundry rooms, the games room, the swimming pool area, the front desk, the bulletin board. When one of their guests that's spending a night in their RV, and by the way, 10% of their market will be sold or traded in. 10% of the RV people that spend the night in their RV park, the RV will be traded in or sold in the next year. So if you have 10,000 guests, that means 1,000 people need RV Wheelator service. Oh my goodness gracious. We pay 10%. Let's say 100, let's just say 10% of those 1,000 that need our service should want our service for more money, guaranteed buyer, no advertising hassle or cost, and free. Let's say 100 of them that we list and sell their RV. Listen to this. I hope everyone listening sitting down, because you're about to fall down. Average commission for RV Wheelator is $2,986. Call it $3,000. 10% of $3,000 is $300. 100 times 300 is $30,000 worth of found money for that RV park for allowing us to put up our poster with their QR code on it. And when the QR code gets scanned, it goes to an information page. When the information page comes in to be priced, it has their name on it, so we know who to factually pay. Like, and all the here's the special information that the RV park needs. Hey, I see that poster, that Wheelator poster there. Scan the QR code, sir. The company takes care of everything. That's it. So any RV park that's interested in having a mailbox money situation, give me a call, give the company a call, email me, I'll take care of you.
Yeah, for some of those small mom and pop campgrounds, $30,000 means probably 2 part-time employees for the summer that they wouldn't normally be able to afford.
Let's say I'm 90% wrong and they only get $3,000. Oh my goodness gracious, they can have a Christmas party, a birthday party where everybody in a big Christmas party on that, and it's all found money.
Right.
And
it sounds like it's a similar result for the dealers as well. It's found money on potential deals that you wouldn't have been able to get in the first place.
That's right.
And now they're coming back and buying a new RV, and you're getting a commission from helping them sell their trade.
Maybe you could notice that I have a bunch of experience in that area.
A little bit.
I know that the dealer could reasonably discount whatever unit that buyer is wanting to buy that they couldn't do the trade with, that we sold the trade up for them. They could discount it 5%. Maybe it's 5%, and it works out to be stuff out of the parts department or accessories, but it's still a reason to come back. My goodness gracious. I'll be listening for a dealer to be calling me.
Yeah. It might be a darn good idea based on what our conversation is. Now, I don't want to get too much deeper into this. There's a lot of information that you've shared with us today, but tell us, I'm going to put your website back up, but tell us how everyone can get a hold of you or one of your managers or something to that effect.
Well,
we got rvwheelator.com.
Yes. I can be reached personally at Deryle, and you got to spell Deryle rather uniquely and obviously correctly. Deryle, Deryle at rvwheelator.com. Terry at rvwheelator.com is my general manager. He does all of our pricing. Our 800 number is 877-744-1219. Press 1 for sales, which comes to me, and 2 for listing your RV, which goes to Terry. You might have a real estate agent in your area. We're developing real estate agents across the country. If you're interested in being a real estate agent, give me a text message or call me.
All right. Say the number and your email address one more time.
Deryle, Deryle at RV Wheelator, Wheelator. It's the mispronunciation of realtor, only Wheelator. And Terry at rvwheelator.com, the general manager. Been with me, by the way, for 11 years.
Wow.
And
that's a testament right there, having someone in management that hasn't rolled over 3 times.
That's right. He does all the pricing. and it's always way wonderful. He gets the seller of the RV the maximum amount of money that we know we can get him, and have a small commission on it. And by the way, our commission is about half what the industry standard is. Half. So 800 number 877-744-1219.
All right, Deryle, I want to thank you for joining us today on RV Game Changer. This is a very interesting concept, and you can find them at RV Wheelator, WheelatorWeelator.com. And thanks again for joining us today. And if you want to find the latest episode of RV Game Changer, make sure you go to rvtoday.tv, where you find our latest episode along with a lot of great information, tips and tricks, and videos of RVing Today TV. If you want to get a hold of me, go to RV Game Changer on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and make sure to subscribe. Have a wonderful week, and God bless.